sorry about that, I hit my record button. So the screw right there, that was for your side cover. So just above that, there's another one there. That's what holds on your fuse panel. There it is right there. I'll tip my finger if you can see it. Yeah, so that's the one that holds on your fuse panel. So you take that out, and you should be able to pull your fuse box right off there. So can't do that with the camera, so I'll do that off camera and then I'll come back and show you. Okay, sorry about that. I actually lied about there only being the one screw. There's one more. It's down here on the opposite side of the fuse panel, right below this relay. There's another one there attached to the box as well. So you pull that off and then you can pull that box out. Okay. So I'm hoping I got enough. I'm hoping I have that pulled out enough to get that hose off anyway. That should give us some more play. Okay, I got the hose off. I'm going to put the clamp right back on the hose so I don't lose it. Okay, and with that out of the way, I'm hoping I can pull this up far enough to get the choke cable and everything off of there. But there we go, that gives me more room. Now when you get this off, be careful because there's a little plunger in there that will fall out if you're not careful. It's just attached loosely to the cable at the end. So I'll see if I can get my fingers out of the way and show that to you. So there's the plunger there trying to come out. So as you pull your cable out, it will come out too. Okay, so I've got the cable and the plunger is still in there, so I'm going to leave that in there for now and then I'll show you how that goes later. It attaches kind of like the same way that the throttle cable is attached. Now there's a little spring there in the end of the line too. Make sure you get that, okay? And you want to, if you leave that on the cable you'll lose it. So I am going to see if it'll sit in there with, no it won't. Okay, so I'm just going to take it over and put it on my bench now. Just so I don't lose it. Okay, so we got the throttle cable off, or the choke cable off, sorry. Now, we'll lift up the carb even further, and I'll bring it back around to this side so you can see what I'm doing on this side. Okay, so over here we have, push that down so I can help hold that up. Okay, so now we've got the rear carb out. If you look on here, we got this cable here, okay, it runs up and along the top to the other carburetor. That's your synchronization cable. Do not take that off, you don't need to. This here is your throttle cable. Okay, so that runs right to here. So see, it runs right to that. Alright, so to get that off, what you want to do, just pull that back like that. And that should slide right out, and that's that off. Okay, now to get it off of this bracket so you can remove the carburetor, you just loosen this back screw here. Leave the front one alone, because when you put it back on later, that's where you want it to sit. So that, I believe, is it 10 mil? Yep. Okay, so just loosen off this one. I'm going to bring it back as far as I can. And that should just slide forward and just slide up out of the bracket. And there is your rear carburetor removed. A lot harder than it makes it sound, but that's that. So now with your front carburetor, let's see if I can get you a decent angle of that. Okay, so again, this synchronization cable is attached to the front carburetor, so you want to leave that if you can. Okay, so this is your rear cable you disconnected from the link earlier. Just leave it there. You could have left it on the carb, I guess, and pulled it all out as one unit, but I got to take it off to rebuild it anyway, so I just undid it. Okay, so let's work on the front one now. Okay, so now this hose here is the one that disconnected from the rear cable, or the rear carburetor. Okay, I'm going to take this off with the front carburetor and deal with it after, because the clamp is really hard to get to. So if we just take it off together, then you can deal with the clamp on the bench. Okay, so that's that hose out of the way. Okay. So theoretically now the choke on this one is on this side right here. So I don't know if I can get this out without taking that off, or if we're going to take it off first. But I'm going to try. Oh, there we go. Okay. So okay, so there's a little plug there, a little cable there. I just unplugged it to move it around the front cable and plug it back in. Okay. So there we go. Got it out of the body there. There's some fuel leaking there, so you want to be careful when you're doing this too. You're working with fuel, so be as careful as you can. Try not to spill it all over the place. Okay. Okay. Oop, just like that. Always have rags handy when you are working with fuel. And don't smoke. Watched a guy one day smoking a cigarette while he was trying to pull a carburetor out of a bike. I cringed. Okay, so now I'm going to find out where that's coming from. There it is. Okay. There we go. Now we got it out. Enough of that. Okay. So now that I'm up this far, this is my choke cable here. So now I can pull that one off. Maybe. Maybe at a different size. This one's going to be a 14, I'll bet. Yep. Okay, so your front choke cable is a 12. Or sorry, your rear choke cable is a 12. And your front one is a 14. Now, if you go by the book, they're claiming you can take this whole thing with the choke cable and everything. And you know what? I probably could. And maybe I will. Yep, there's the rear choke cable. Put the handle out there. There's the front. There we go. Untwist it from everything. Okay, so now if I just pull that out, and something fell, I didn't like that. that later. Okay, unhook that, there we go. Now you take the whole thing as an assembly over to your bench. Alright. Well, that didn't go as smoothly as we hoped, but we got the carburetor out of the bike. So I hope the video was helpful. Sorry about how sloppy it was, but so this just goes to prove though, because when I did this the first time, I just kind of did it on my own. When I did it this time, I tried to go by what the book's instructions were. Apparently the book's instructions, either they work on a different bike or they know something I don't, but I followed the instructions exactly, and I still wound up having to take other things apart they didn't mention in the book. So the important thing is, and why I did it this way to begin with those, because the last time I took this apart, I took these synchronization cables off, and I had a pain in the butt time trying to get them back on. So doing it this way, I didn't have to take them off, and hopefully I can put it back in the bike without taking them off as well. So now that I'm here on the bench, we'll do a disassembly, cleaning, and reassemble. Okay. Now the important thing is we'll do one carb at a time, and when you're doing each one, keep track of all your parts, all your little parts, and like I said, you know, you don't want to be getting the rear carb parts mixed up with the front carb parts because they are different. So anyway, that's how you get the carburetor out of the bike. Next video will be about the disassembly and cleaning. Thanks for watching. I hope you found it useful. If you have any questions or if you missed a step or two, leave a comment in the comment box below and I will do my best to answer them. Bye for now, and I'll see you in the next video. One more quick note. After you get the carburetors out, just do yourself a favor. Throw a couple of clean rags in the inlet pipes. That'll just help you help keep stuff from falling in there, any debris getting in there, any dirt getting in there while you're working on the carburetors. You get anything in there and it could get stuck in your valves and do a lot of damage to your internal, especially if you drop a screw or something down there and don't realize it. Another little note.